Next subject would be time and menu management. And this is very, 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 very important, and it relates to several of the topics that we already discussed. One, and again, not to use too many cliches here, but don't bite off more than you can chew. If you don't have the ability or time or resources to do something, just leave it be. Do something else. Again, less is more. Less is more. Less is more. Ask yourself this. How much time do you have for prep? Do you have any help? Are you the only one doing it? So you want to quantify your budget and your time before you make your menu. All right, and understand how long it takes you to make things, right? In that same vein, I would say that if you're making particular recipes, especially ones that you may not have done before or may not have done a lot before, practice them if you have time, even on a very small scale. Like if you're making an aioli, just make a little aioli from scratch. See if you can do it. If you can't do it, do something else. But if you can practice, if you're making jambalaya for your party, make a little jambalaya for yourself. Is it good? What do I need to adjust? What do I need to do differently? And then when you make it for your party, they're going to love it because you already have it down, right? Don't try to do things for the first time when you're having your party. That will result in failure unless you're very skilled or very lucky. Again, know your audience, right? If it's with friends, family, you got a bit more leeway. I'll also say, in terms of your menu, utilize a variety of menu items, including things that are ready to eat, some cold items and some hot items, some things that are simpler to prepare, some things that are a little bit more complicated. So, for example, what I like to do is I'll have like a cheese and charcuterie provision with some bread and some little accoutrements when people come in, so that they can just munch on that and kind of graze on that, and then maybe some cold stuff like some sort of composed salad. Or just a number of different things you can do, but things that are right there so they can eat it right when they get there. Because you're going to have a mix of people in your party that are hungry, and some of them are just really, patient and willing to wait. So you want to be able to get people eating, drinking, as soon as they get in there, and for a lot of them, that'll foment, people talking to each other and having a good time. So people do get nervous when you don't have food and they're waiting for food. Like, they don't like that, even if they're your friends. They might not tell you that, but it's true. And then you want to reserve kind of your show-stopping stuff and your hot stuff for towards the end. Another thing you need to do is you need to have a production schedule. When we do this professionally, at least when I do it professionally, when I've done it professionally, I have a schedule involving all recipes, all items, and exactly when they need to be provided and in what amount. So I know, at least planning wise, at exactly what time I'm prepared or ready to serve which items. And I know how long it's going to take me to prepare each thing and get it on a plate or get it on a platter and get it out to the guests. This is going to streamline your operation, and it's going to make you able to effectively run a dinner party instead of, as we say in the business, the dinner party are running you. That being said, inevitably, there are going to be setbacks. There are going to be delays. There are going to be mistakes. You need to accommodate for those before you cook things. So, example, if you think it's going to take you 5 minutes to get that hummus and pita on a plate, give yourself 8 minutes. And then when you can't find the pita bread, or when you burn the first round of pita bread, you put another one in the oven, you still got it out within 8 minutes, and your plan is not thwarted. That's very important, and that's a pro hack or pro tip. But you will be delayed for whatever reason, and you will have things not go right every time you do it, and that happens in professional kitchens and catering operations all the time. But the difference between professionals and amateurs is we know it's going to happen, and we allot for it, and we overcome it. So when these things do happen as well, play it cool. Mistakes are going to happen. chances are people at your dinner party are going to be people that know you. So even if a mistake does happen, they're not going to hold it against you. But play it cool and be cool and joke about it. Like, hey, I burned the whatever. What an idiot I am. You don't want to be upset at your dinner party. The host can't be upset. You can't. You have to be happy and interactive. All right. But that being said, don't let your mistakes leave the kitchen. I did this recently. I had a brunch where I had a number of items, and it was an unfamiliar oven and equipment that I was using, and I had some biscuits that I was doing for biscuits and gravy, and I put 2 pans of biscuits in the oven, and all of them burnt on the bottom, and they were unusable. I was super, super pissed at myself and the fact that I'm in this person's house and their equipment sucks, but put a smile on my face and just said, look, we're not having biscuits and gravy. Sorry. I'm not going to serve them crap biscuits, right? So, moving on. Presentation, right? Presentation matters. People say eat with your eyes first. It's true. For your food, for your cocktails and drinks, for yourself, and for your home, when you're having a cocktail or dinner party, presentation matters. Even if they're your best friends, who might not care, clean your house and clean your kitchen. Keep your spaces organized and clean as you go. Like, wipe things up. My recommendation would be have some sort of big container. Like, I use a big, those big plastic containers that are like 2 feet high and 3 feet wide, and I'll just dump all my stuff in there and just have one thing and then clean it up all at the end of the night. But I wipe things down as I go. I keep things organized. I keep all my stuff in the same spots because people notice that, they're going to be around you when you're cooking, especially if you have a large number of people. So you need to be clean, you need to be organized, you need to be calm, and you need to be engaging to have a successful cocktail or dinner party. Right? And again, make sure your food and beverages look as attractive as possible. Basically what that means is, again, if you have the chance to practice a recipe, plate it up. Same thing with cocktails. Plate it up, see how it looks. Make sure your plates are clean, and make sure it doesn't have to be fancy, but make sure you've got a good color contrast. Make sure you've got good balance, and make sure all the things that you're putting out look the same as much as you can. Put them on nice looking plates. Generally white plates I think are the best. But I won't go into that too much right now. Doesn't have to be fancy, but it has to have a balance, has to have good color contrast, and has to be consistent, right? If you do that, it's going to be more impressive because people go, ooh, yeah, look how nice that looks. And they're going to eat it and be like, oh, look how nice that tastes, right? So, when you're plating things or when you're dishing out your cocktails, before you put them out for people to eat, and paper towels are your friend here, or like a damp rag followed by a paper towel. Wipe it up a little bit, trim it up. If you see little pieces of thing that don't belong there, little smudges here or there, fingerprints here or there, wipe it off before you put it out to be served. Seems simple. A lot of people don't do it. And this is the other thing. Well, 2 more things I'll mention, but one is if it's a party that involves silverware or serving utensils, clean that shit. Dirty silverware is a dirty person, right? There is no excuse for dirty silverware or dirty utensils for serving. It will put guests, it can even put people off that you've known for years and years and years and that love you. They might not want to ever eat at your place again because you serve them on a dirty plate with dirty silverware. Trust me. In that same vein, be clean yourself. Wear clean clothing, clean shoes, a clean apron. And if you got towels and stuff that you use in the kitchen, clean them too. Then the last point, and it's related to the previous point that I just made, is something that some people overlook. But if you're having a cocktail party, or a dinner party, ambiance, ambiance is very important. Like I just French fried that, my ambiance. But anyway, ambiance is very important. Very, very, very important. And it's different from the last point because it has more to do with your surroundings and your environment than it does with the actual food. But one thing that's very important is don't overcrowd your space. You know, if you have a 1,000 square foot apartment, don't have 50 people in there. It's not going to work, right? So understand how many people you can comfortably fit in your space, especially if you're eating a sit-down dinner. Make sure you have the table space. Make sure you have the space overall for people to be comfortably able to mingle and interact, right? Declutter. And I hate to have to say this, but especially in the restaurant business, and there's a lot of ne'er-do-wells and people like that. Two things can happen to your stuff when you have a dinner party. One is that your stuff can get broken. Two is that your stuff can get stolen. I hope you cohabitate with the type of people that don't steal your stuff when you have them over for a dinner party. But generally speaking, anything that you can get out of the way, you should get out of the way. All right. Moving on then. Lighting. Lighting is important. You don't want to have it be too bright, and also don't want to have it be too dark. But think about it. If you can have some like ambient candles, or anything of that nature, it provides a nice experience for your guests. I would say a low lit place, but not too low lit, is probably the best way to go. Just makes people kind of feel comfortable. Again, but not too late. You don't want to put them to sleep. But bright lights are bad. You don't want that. Also, for the presentation of your food, low lit lighting is going to make your food look better. The contrast is going to be better, and any imperfections that exist are going to be masked to some degree. So, in the same respect, music, it should be carefully chosen. And again, know your audience. Know your audience. You should choose music that most of your audience is going to enjoy, but something that's probably, not terribly challenging socially, lyrically, unless you know all your people and they want to listen to gangster rap, or they want to listen to metal or something like that. Like if everybody's on board, then yeah, go for it. But generally speaking, you want to have your music at like a mid-range volume so that it's audible, but people can still have conversations. And sometimes you want to have music that's thematic. Like if you had a New York themed party, it could be all bands from New York or artists from New York, or Sinatra, but think about it. Think about all of the things that you're doing, and they all matter. Lastly, if you got pets, especially like cats, or even dogs or cats. Like cats usually aren't very party friendly. I would say choose like your bedroom and maybe put the litter box and their food and the cats in your bedroom for the night. Dogs can be a lot more friendly, but again, find out, know your audience. Like, is anybody allergic? And if so, let's try to put our pets maybe just for a couple hours while you have your dinner party. Put them in the bedroom, put their litter out of the way, put their food out of the way, because nobody really wants to see that. Nobody wants to smell it. Nobody wants to be around it. And if there are people that love cats or love dogs, you can expose them to your pets as you see fit. But in general, if you're having like a large party and mixed company,